Hi, I'm Jay Landers of CSF of Wakefield, and we have the founder of Scholarship America, Dr. Irving Fradkin, to come to our 50th celebration. So welcome, Dr. Fradkin.
Oh, it's such a pleasure, an honor, a privilege really to come to Wakefield. Wakefield is a jewel of our program. This is the community that the entire country should follow and try to emulate. It's amazing. Wakefield is American success story. 50 years ago, the Chamber of Commerce sent people from Wakefield. I just started a chapter in 58, and in about 1960-61, along comes a couple of people from Wakefield saying, "What's the scholarship program? How do we do likewise what you are doing?" And I told them how it's done, and they said, "That sounds pretty good. We'll see what can happen." And lo and behold, they came back again. Said, "Well, we've done some of the thing. Tell us more about it." First thing, who gets the money? I said, "There's no money to anybody. Everybody is non-salary. 100% of all the dollars you raise in Wakefield go to the young people in your own community." The reason why I set that up, because God's gift is in every single person, regardless of the race, religion, creed, or color. But education is the cornerstone of democracy. If you give these young people an education, you're going to find what they're going to do. They may be a doctor or a lawyer or a surgeon or a computer expert, but they will do much more for themselves, their community, and country. Well, I didn't hear too much about Wakefield after that for a couple of years. Then I started to hear they're doing so well. And they invited me back a number of years later. And I heard that you have $5 million in trust funds. Your population is only 25,000. That's unbelievable. That's so great. That was a couple of years ago. We're 7 million right now. Wow, what a growth. Because in our program, we encourage them to go to the lawyers so that people will put money into their wills for the benefit of scholarship through Wakefield. Then they invite me back a couple of years later. Wow, $9 million or something?
We're at 10 million now.
That's $11 million in trust funds. This is what happens. This is one of the communities that did what I wanted them to do. 4-year scholarships. If you need help the first year, you're going to need help the second, third, and fourth year too. So you give out 30, 40, 3 million, 4 million kids, 3,000, 4,000 kids scholarships. You're the only community that I know of that is doing so well. But when I would speak to the board of director members, "Why are you on the board?" My 3 kids got scholarships. I got 4 kids growing up. I got a scholarship with my youngster. Can you imagine a community making scholarships available for every person, regardless of age, race, creed, just as it should be in America, being all God's children? But I don't look at Wakefield as a scholarship program. I believe that the strength of America is in the communities. If there are communities that follow Wakefield's example, I swear and I assure you, there would not be the crime, would not be the dropouts, would not be the deficit that every single state goes through, Massachusetts included. If the elected officials ever went to Wakefield and said, "How did you do it? How can we encourage other communities to do likewise?" you would see not 90 chapters in Massachusetts, but 200. Instead of giving $60 million through the varying chapters over a period of time, they'd be giving 75 or 100 million. And everything is possible in this country. This is such a blessed country. But because people are not paying attention to the responsibility that they have, which I mean is voting. I'll make a bet in Wakefield, you get 75% of the people voting. But throughout the country, you only get 50 if you're lucky. When you get 50% for a national election, what happens is that 25% of the people control who gets into office. And the people get in there because somebody gave them money. That should never be in our country. You should be running for office for the benefit of your neighbor, your family, your people, not you. And it should be a limited time, because a limited time would mean other people would have a chance to come in. You know, you have to judge a community and a country by what the young people get. You know, the young people are the future of our country. If you give the young people a dream, hope, support, and scholarship, you will see 1 out of every 10 dropouts end up in jail. Costs you $40,000, $50,000 to keep a kid in jail. And 65% of them will go back to jail in 3 to 5 years. They have no education. They can't make a living. So they go back to crime. Wakefield is not that way. Wakefield does not have a dropout problem, does not have a crime problem. This is a blessing for the country. This is a blessing that people can say, I live in Wakefield. My property values are steady or even increased because people want to live here. Merchants say, I have taxpayers here, never mind dropouts. I want to have a business here. And industry looks at Fall River saying, in Wakefield rather, I want to establish here or nearby because people from Wakefield make my industry great. I'm so proud of Wakefield. They are the crown jewel of Scholarship America. Scholarship America has 1,200 chapters in 42 states. But the one chapter that stands out the best is Wakefield, Mass. And to have 50th anniversary here and have the privilege of coming here and meeting, you have a young man with me right now, Jay Landers. He's a perfect example of what you dream of in this whole program. He was a recipient, moved back to Wakefield, became its president. That's what we hope. People who have benefited in this are willing to give back to their own community and country. Now, he's helped start a chapter in Somerville. This is what we hope. Somebody who has been helped, helps somebody else. Again, Wakefield, Mass., it's an honor, a privilege to be part of the Wakefield 50th anniversary. And someday, I wish I was around, but I won't, be 100th anniversary, because you're going to keep on growing all the time.
Thank you, Dr. Fradkin, because I've been going through the scrapbook, and I can say you've been to a lot of events, because I know you were at the 25th, I know you were at the 40th, so we're really proud to have you here as our founder, so thank you. I have another question, though, and I'll get out of the camera shot. Can you tell me a little bit about how you met Pat Mooney? Because what we've done in the program, we're dedicating the program to Pat. You know what Pat's like. So can you give us a little brief summary of how you met Pat?
Pat I most likely met about 35, 40 years ago. She was just the beginning. She became its chapter president. But this is America. You get such people who have a fervor, who has a love of helping making this community that they live in all the better. And I remember her saying, we have a $2 million trust fund at the present time, but I want to make sure that the people in my community put their will with the stipends for Dollars for Scholars of Wakefield. I want to make sure that organizations understand that they'll get better membership, quality membership, if they give our future leaders a chance for an education. And I want to make sure that now that you have Scholarship America, that I would like to be a part of it and help. And this is what I find with Pat. She's always there to help with a smile, with such a pleasant disposition. She's such a joy to be with, but she's positive in her thinking, always trying to make the organization bigger and better. Wakefield's got to be thankful when they have a person like Pat and married so well to Jean, who gives her all the support in the world, that there is a person that Wakefield is proud of, rightly so, because she helped make Wakefield the jewel of our program throughout America.
Thank you, Dr. Fradkin. Is there any last things you'd like us to remember about this occasion, or how you think the future is going to be?
The future has to be education. We used to be #1 in the country, #1 in the world, that is, in education. We're no longer that way today. We're 16th, I think. Unless we change and give the greatest asset, the gold mine that exists in every community, give them a chance for an education. Look how far down we have gone. I say this because the people of Wakefield and anybody else who sees this tape know that if you want to perpetuate your democracy, I'm 89 years old, I want to perpetuate it so my children, your children, my grandchildren, and yours have a better way of life. Let me tell you how far, and this is where I can mark America. This came from Congress. Congress in 1940 said the 8 reasons why a youngster was reprimanded in school, talking out of line, chewing gum, very minor thing. 50 years later, and this is the danger this is the 8 reasons today, 1950. Pregnancy, venereal disease, drug abuse, suicide, rape, assault and burglary, arson, and murder and gang warfare. We can change that. You, the people out there, are the backbone of America. You have got to make sure that education is the cornerstone of your future. And I feel that Wakefield, as an example, can help other communities say, if Wakefield can do it, why can't we?
Okay, you're going to be addressing the audience later tonight, but we're going to limit, we're going to limit you to 5 minutes. What would you like to say here that, other than what you, maybe something else that you would have liked to have said to the group, but you're not going to be able to because of the 5 minutes? So this would be your opportunity to add to what your original notes, because we know we've only going to give you 5 minutes. So what will be missing so we can put it on this recording?
Scholarship America is not a scholarship program. Scholarship America is to give the dream, the hope, the support, so that we can reignite the American dream. America is the greatest country that has ever been. There's never been a country like America. People come from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all colors, all persuasions, with nothing but their clothes in their back. But they have the soil of freedom to grow in. Because they have the soil of freedom to grow in, they have become doctors and lawyers and bankers and successful people. They own their own homes. This is what people have got to understand. The soil of freedom is not free. You have got to be able to mine it, to guard it, to cultivate it constantly. That means giving something of your own back. Education should not be a rich man's game. It should be available for everybody. You know, the greatest growth we had was when a GI Bill was instituted. Once it was instituted, you had the greatest growth in America. And this is what I say today. We have got to come together to give help, support to the gold mines in our own little community, the mines of the children. You are our future. We want to be able to give you a chance to use God's gift in you so that you'll be more helpful to yourself, to your community, and to your family.
Thank you, Dr. Frank. One final thing I'd like to say is, normally when you come here, you have Mrs. Fradkin. We want to say we miss Charlotte and we wish her well. So would you please tell us how much she missed and how much we adore you, but quite frankly, we really adore her more.
That is rightly so. You know, 63 years ago, I was on a streetcar, and she was on the same streetcar. We both grew up in Chelsea, Mass. I took one look at her. I was in a senior year, and she was a sophomore when I was in high school. Now I'm a practicing optometrist. She was going to work coming from Chelsea. Her bus was late, so she got on the same streetcar I was on. My head snapped back. There was this blue-eyed blonde, and I said to my sister who was going to work, "That's for me." I got up behind her. We stood up a conversation. She knew me, and when I left, she went to work, and I continued going on to Fall River where my practice was. I got a telephone number, and when I got home that evening, I called her, and I made a date. I met her in June. 7 dates later, in August, I proposed to her, engaged in August, married in November. I found what I wanted, and for 63 years, I've been on a honeymoon. And we have 3 children, 4 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. I'm the luckiest man in the world, the richest man in the world. I don't value money as my God. I'm lucky to have a wife who went through sciatica a couple of months ago, but it's starting to come back now. Otherwise, she'd be with me. Wherever we go together. And I was very heartbroken to think I was going to sleep over at a hotel tonight, away from her. And I asked Pat Mooney, "Pat, is there any way of canceling the reservation at a hotel and getting a ride back tonight, whatever the time is?" And she accommodated me. She has a limousine going back. I will be with Charles, who's very disappointed. She wanted to be here with me, as she always is. She loves Wakefield, by the way, because of all the love, all the attention, all the success that she has found here. So
thank you, Dr. Fradkin, and welcome to the 50th anniversary of Scholarship America. Well, that's 50 years. Okay, yeah, go.
Hi, I'm Greg Macri from Walpole, New Hampshire. I belong to the Fall Mountain Regional Dollars for Scholars chapter, and we've been in existence since 1969. I've been with that chapter since 1972, and I went on to become an honor roll trustee, which incidentally we all are honor roll trustees. I'm proud to be here, and I'm proud to be with our founder, and we're doing quite well.
That's good to hear.
You know, he's not telling all of it. His chapter is so successful, and I think you ought to tell the amount of the population that you're in, the amount of money you raised, and the amount of students you helped. It's amazing between you and my person on the left who will introduce himself. This is America. People never in 100 years would have ever thought, put bucks together to help so many young people. Greg, what's your population? How many people have you helped? How many dollars have you raised?
Well, our chapter consists of 5 small towns. The 5 towns have approximately 11,000 people. And we've given we average $150,000 a year to about 142 students.
That's good.
This is America.
Yeah.
If America could follow the example of Wakefield, the chapter here, the chapter of my life, you would not have the crime in this country. You would not have the deficit we have in this country. You would have quality people running for office because they want to be in a community that is successful. Here's another young man who's been with us 50 years. 50 years.
And still young.
Go ahead.
Cy Seifert, formerly Ralph H. Seifert, Mansfield, Massachusetts. Met Irving early on in the late 60s in 61, and we went to a dinner party that was hosted by Roger Williams. And I heard Irving's message, and I took it back to Mansfield, Massachusetts. The JECs were looking for a #1 project. And we decided that we would like to have more scholarships for our kids coming out of Mansfield. And we started it. And then I went as president of JCs to president of Rotary. And I asked my Rotarians, I said, I'll challenge you right now. I want $1,000 from 40 men in this club for our initial gift to raise money for Mansfield Citizen Scholars Foundation of America. I went on to be involved. I started CSF of Massachusetts because I knew that chapters needed support on a volunteer basis throughout the state. Later became secretary of the corporation and then treasurer of the corporation. Went on to be chairman of the board of the corporation, and then I ran a capital campaign that raised $41 million. And I'm still active in my chapter in Boothbay Harbor, Maine, where we last year gave out just less than $200,000 to 94 of our kids, and we select our kids and we get our kids through the freshman into graduate school. So our rewards are annual, ongoing, and they amount to, in a graduate school, about $10,000 to $15,000 grant.
Wonderful.
See, again, leadership, leadership, leadership. When you have, regardless of your race, religion, creed, or color, when you have people who believe in America, there's nothing at all you cannot do. And you got three tremendous examples. Wakefield, Greg, and Cy. Marvelous, marvelous things can be done. What are some of the things you people have found your young people have done? How much crime do you have in your area? How many dropouts do you have in your area? How many people have remained in your area coming back to the community to help the community? Either one?
Unfortunately, Maine has a brain drain, and our kids are leaving. They're going to schools out of state, and they're staying out of state. So it's been very difficult for us to bring back those that have already received awards. We hope that that might change, but our prospects are looking at the demographics that most of our young kids that don't go to college continue in the fishing industry, and they're 5th generation kids. Other than that, our kids are going to Bachelor of Arts schools out of state and staying out of state.
I have to mirror what Cy has said. We do have so many that leave our town and simply don't come back. And the fact of the matter is, we don't have any industry. In our area, as they say about New Hampshire, tourism is the #1 industry. And this doesn't help unless you want to join the services, which is low paying. They do go out of state and they stay out of state. And that's a very true statement.
Gentlemen,